আপনাদের সবাইকে স্বাগত জানাচ্ছি আজকের আলোচনায়। দর্শক, আমরা এর আগে ভিন্ন একটি ভিডিওতে আলোচনা করেছিলাম। আপনারা জানেন যে অন্টারিওর প্রভিন্সিয়াল গভর্নমেন্ট নতুন একটি নিয়ম করেছে, সেটি হচ্ছে অন্টারিওর স্কুলগুলোতে সেলফোনের ব্যবহার নিষিদ্ধ করেছে। ছেলেমেয়েরা যখন স্কুলে থাকবে, ক্লাসে থাকবে, সেই সময় তারা সেলফোন ব্যবহার করতে পারবে না। অবশ্য দুই একটি ক্ষেত্রে মানে যদি সেটি এডুকেশনাল পারপাসে হয়, ক্লাসের প্রয়োজনে হয়, কিংবা কোনো মেডিকেল রিজন হয়, সেই সব জায়গায় একটি ব্যতিক্রমী ব্যবস্থা রাখা হয়েছে। সেলফোন নিষিদ্ধ করার এই সিদ্ধান্তটি ঘোষিত হওয়ার পর এটি নিয়ে আমরা দেখেছি যে এক ধরনের মিশ্র প্রতিক্রিয়া হয়েছে শিক্ষকদের মধ্যে। অভিভাবকদের প্রায় সিংহভাগই এটিকে স্বাগত জানিয়েছেন। শিক্ষকদের মধ্যে এটি ইমপ্লিমেন্টেশন কিভাবে হবে সেটি নিয়ে টিচারদের মধ্যে এক ধরনের একটা কনসার্ন আমরা দেখেছি। আজকে আমি আমন্ত্রণ জানিয়েছি শাহজাদ আরিয়ান আলমকে। শাহজাদ আরিয়ান আলম হচ্ছেন স্যার উইলফ্রেড লরিয়ার কলেজিয়েট ইনস্টিটিউটের গ্রেড 9 এর একজন শিক্ষার্থী। যেহেতু শাহজাদ স্কুলে পড়ছেন, গ্রেড 9 এ পড়ছেন, এবং সেলফোন ব্যবহারের বিষয়টি স্কুলের জন্য আরোপ করা হয়েছে। সো একদম ক্লাসে, শ্রেণীকক্ষে কিংবা স্কুল এনভায়রনমেন্টে এই সিদ্ধান্তটি কি ধরনের প্রতিক্রিয়া প্রকাশ করেছে, বা আমাদের বাচ্চারাই বিষয়টিকে তারা কিভাবে দেখছেন, তারা এটিকে নিয়ে কি ভাবছেন, সেটি জানার জন্য আমি শাহজাদকে আমন্ত্রণ জানিয়েছিলাম। শাহজাদ, তোমাকে অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ যে তুমি আমার সঙ্গে কথা বলতে, আমাকে সময় দিতে রাজি হয়েছো সেজন্য।
Yes, so thank you, Mr. Shigora, for having me here. It's a pleasure to be interviewed by you. So, first, I want to talk about how the rule is actually being enforced in our schools. I know that a lot of parents and a lot of teachers, at the beginning were concerned that how this whole ban would be enforced. So, what I found that once I went to school, they were very clear about the rules on the cell phone ban, that like as high schoolers we were given like the more relaxed side of the ban, where during class time we're not allowed to have our phones, and that they can't be in our desks, basically can't be anywhere where teachers can see them, and we'd have to put them on silent, of course. So the teachers have told us very clearly that if we ever have them out, or if we don't listen to the teacher, that either the good ending, we give the phone and the teacher puts it in a safe space in the classroom. Like in my math class, I have this teacher who has a white basket in the corner of the room. She takes confiscated cell phones and puts them in that basket. And for people who don't listen, either they usually just get sent to the principal's office if after the teacher has told them multiple times, they just don't listen. And our teachers have clearly told us that a major concern at the beginning was whose responsibility was it going to be if maybe the phone was destroyed or it was stolen. But the teachers have been very clear in that if our phone gets confiscated and then it gets damaged or stolen for whatever reason, the school or the teachers, they are not responsible. The responsibility is put on the student, because the teachers have gone to uh, great lengths to explain to us that our phones will be taken away, and that most students would already know that they shouldn't be having their cell phones out. So as of yet, the policy hasn't been completely implemented in my school. They gave us a 2-week grace period, meaning
Oh,
from September 3rd for the next 2 weeks, phones won't really be taken away. But yes, every day our teachers do warn us, and if they ever do see a phone or do hear a buzz, they make sure to remind us that, hey, very soon we'll have to actually start taking away your phones. So please be mindful of that. So that's what's there for the enforcement side. Oh, and another thing, violence against teachers was another concern, that, maybe some students might get violent if their teacher tries to take
yeah,
their phone or something.
sometimes kids become violent when rules are imposed to them, when like a teacher try to forbid them from doing something or from doing anything. Yes,
Yes,
go ahead.
so I understand that's a major concern, but the way usually, violence against teachers will be dealt, like any other way. Like at first, of course, the principal will be called. and then the student will be sent to the principal, and the principal will, have a chat with them, try to find out what the issues are. And if it's really serious somehow, because we're high schoolers, because of our age, police may get involved. Not necessarily, but that is a possibility. So violence against teachers, I feel like, most students, I don't think, are going to be violent against teachers. Like, I understand there are some kids who, may have violent tendencies, but really that's not the majority of the population. And I feel like the worst a student, like a normal student, could probably do, like without an IEP or special needs, I feel like the worst that'll probably happen is that maybe, they'll swear at the teacher or like say some bad stuff. But honestly, I feel like violence against teachers, it's, not a new thing. Some kids are just violent when rules are
Yeah,
imposed
sometimes
on
it
them.
happens. We see in the newspaper, we see in the media that the students are like the kind of, not necessarily we see a lot of things, but sometimes maybe.
Well, yeah, that still is a possibility, but
Actually, not with the teachers, like the what we see in the schools. Sometimes there are violent activities that is actually among the students, among the peers, not with the teachers.
well, yes, bullying, of course, is still a major issue in our schools. And, a lot of kids don't really take it nicely when another kid is like, hey, don't use your phone. The teacher said so. Like, a lot of kids will take that as like offense that another student is trying to basically act like they're better, and it kind of hurts them. So, violence does happen. But whenever violence does happen in our schools, as long as it's reported or maybe a teacher or supervisor sees it, you can be left assured that it will be dealt in a proper way, and it will go to the principal's office and whatever authorities need to be involved.
So
So for
you are pointing one thing like the student will be sent to principal's office or principal will be involved. So you guys like the uh, so when principal is involved in any issues, so you people take it seriously.
yes, whenever students are called to the principal, usually students will take it seriously. Like, whenever someone's called to the principal, us as students, we feel that something really major, like something really wrong has been done. Like, sometimes even me, when I'm called to the principal, even if it's for no bad reason, sometimes I keep on thinking in my head, what have I done wrong? What's going on? So, like, yeah.
Now, the thing is, like the another question, Shahzad, I want to understand from you. So, the government imposed the rule that kids will not be allowed to use cell phone in the school. So, in your opinion, do you think why the government has to like step in to introduce this type of rules? How do you see this rule is good for you guys or something like that? You are annoyed with the rule?
So, what I'd say in terms of how the rule is affecting us, like, I feel
Yeah.
like in our, student culture, school culture, social media is, it's very prevalent. It has a big presence in our community. But I feel that if, this rule wasn't in place and students were just going on their phones like all the time, like, I feel like we really miss out on that socialization. But it's also important to note that this isn't anything new. In 2019, Ontario did like make a suggestion for all boards to restrict cell phone use. But back then, it was up to boards and schools to decide how they were going to do it. So it wasn't like in law or anything. But the important difference now is that Ontario has made it a law, and that all boards across the province have to follow it. So, me, I would support this. Like, I know a lot of my peers would be, really sad or angry that, hey, I can't text my friends or use social media. And I understand that. Sure, it's great to socialize with peers and do, you know, uh, get to know each other in the digital world. But if we, continue to allow all this to happen in our schools, we really miss out on socializing in person, like face to face conversation. Like, with the pandemic and all, we already, a lot of people in my generation just need a lot of more work on their socialization skills. Like COVID has really hit us hard and we need to, catch up. So, especially for the younger ones, because a lot of, people before grade 6, I'm sure their early school years were during COVID, so they didn't really have, time to play with their friends, have a chat. So I think it's justified that even though it might seem a little strict, that the whole school day, no cell phone use, because kids really have to learn to talk with each other, have human interaction, and actually, like meet each other without relying on a device. So in that way, I think it's justified because it increases the social environment that kids have, like human to human, face to face. But I understand that a lot of other kids will not take this in a good way. But I feel like the rules have been clearly mentioned and clearly stated that I don't think it would be very common for students to break them all the time.
Wow. Okay. Another thing, like we parents always think like we discuss like this way. Oh, you know what? Like our kids, they spend their time with devices. They don't talk with us too much. They are always in the either the cell phone or different type of devices. So how do you feel and how do you react to this type of like, the observation that we make?
Like I feel a lot of this narrative. Like I understand, of course, social media, like the widespread use of cell phones would, lead to a lot of kids just being on their phones and socializing online. But I feel like another underlying issue is that, some kids, not all, some like maybe they don't feel like sharing with their parents. Maybe they're just, want to keep things to themselves. So that's one. So for that, I'd encourage, just a lot more family discussion to happen, like maybe at meal times, dinner, everybody could just talk like what went on in their day. So like I feel like that could be one step where parents could increase communication with their child, like face to face human interaction. And of course, there's addictions, of course, where some kids are just addicted to social media, like Discord, Snapchat, all that. So for that, I feel like a way to kind of reduce this is to get kids to do other hobbies, right? Like maybe some kids are interested in playing outside, maybe playing an instrument, reading books, because I feel that the addiction to social media and like kind of distancing yourself from parents, a lot of that is caused due to not really having much else to do or not really being that open. But yes, I understand why parents can get the feeling that, hey, all this social media is to blame, that the social media is taking our kids away from us. So, yes. Yeah.
Before we conclude our conversation, do you have anything to tell us, like the parents, guardians?
So, for parents, well, if you
Yes.
guys are, yes? Okay. So, if you guys are concerned about, your kid just keeping, keeping the bad habits, keep on using their phone all the time, like, I feel that, if your kid does go to the principal and it does get to a level where, parents have to get involved, like, rest assured you will be involved. The board is very strict with this rule, and if it goes to the parents and you guys need to step in to stop the use, you guys are very welcome to, if it ever gets to that case. And even if it doesn't, I'm sure that the principal will teach your kid, and the teachers, they've been nothing but kind and helpful and have really showed us the nitty gritty of all the rules, that how it works, what to do with your phones, and the consequences, like your phone will be taken if you don't listen. You'll be sent to the principal's office. And if you guys are concerned that your kid can't reach you during times. Like for us high schoolers, that's never going to be an issue because lunch before we go to school, after we go to school, there's no rules on that. Anytime we want, we could call you, let you know about stuff, so that's not an issue. And for the younger ones, I'd say that if the younger ones really do need to let you know about stuff, they can always, go to the office, and there's always a cell phone in the office. So if they do need to let you know something urgently, they could call you from that phone. So if you're worried about reaching your child or connecting with them, that's not really an issue either.
ওকে, অলরাইট, থ্যাংক ইউ সো মাচ শাহজাদ। দর্শক, আমরা আসলে কথা বলছিলাম যে অন্টারিও প্রভিন্সিয়াল গভর্নমেন্ট যে নতুন একটি নিয়ম করেছে যে স্কুলে, একটা অন্টারিও স্কুলগুলোতে সেলফোন ব্যবহার করা যাবে না ক্লাসরুমে এবং স্কুলে। বিভিন্ন ক্লাসের জন্য বিভিন্ন রকমের নিয়ম করে দেওয়া হয়েছে। এটি আসলে স্কুলে কিভাবে ইম্প্যাক্ট করছে, আমাদের বাচ্চারা সেটাকে কিভাবে তারা নিচ্ছে, স্কুলই বা কিভাবে ইমপ্লিমেন্ট করছে, সেটি জানার জন্য আমি শাহজাদ আরিয়ান আলমকে ইনভাইট করেছিলাম। শাহজাদ আরিয়ান আলম স্যার উইলফ্রেড লোরিয়ার কলেজিয়েট ইনস্টিটিউটের গ্রেড 9 এর ছাত্র। খুব চমৎকারভাবে শাহজাদ তার নিজের অভিজ্ঞতা এবং তার ভাবনাগুলো আমাদের সঙ্গে শেয়ার করলো। আমরা এরপরেও কখনো চাইবো, আমরা চেষ্টা করব বিভিন্ন সময় আমাদের যারা স্টুডেন্টরা আছে, আমাদের বাচ্চারা যারা বিভিন্ন স্কুলে পড়ে বা তাদের সময়কার, তাদের বিষয়গুলো নিয়ে কথা বলার জন্য একটা ইন্টারাকশন যাতে করা যায় নানা বিষয় নিয়ে। আমরা কি ভাবি বাচ্চাদেরকে নিয়ে, বা বাচ্চারা কিভাবে আমাদেরকে নিয়ে, বা তাদের ভাবনাগুলোর সঙ্গে আমরা কমিউনিকেশন করতে পারছি কি পারছি না। বাই দ্য ওয়ে, শাহজাদ বাংলা খুব ভালো বুঝে, সেজন্য আমি দর্শক আপনাদের সঙ্গে কথা বলার সুবিধার্থে বাংলাতে বলছি। অ্যান্ড আই বিলিভ, am I right, Shahzad?
Yeah.
You understand what I say, right? In
Yes,
Bengali.
yes, I understand.
Yes. ও বাংলায় সবই বুঝছে, বাট আমরা এই ধরনের আলাপ আলোচনা করব। আপনারাও আমাকে এই ব্যাপারে সহযোগিতা করতে পারেন, যে যদি মনে করেন যে আরো কোনো আপনার চেনা কোনো বাচ্চা এইসব বিষয় নিয়ে আমার সঙ্গে কথা বলতে চায়, আমরা সেগুলো কন্টিনিউ করতে চাই। আজ এ পর্যন্তই। আপনাদের সবাইকে অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ। Once again, Shahzad, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us and giving me time to talk to you.
Thank you.